Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg. As always, today, welcome back to my good friend and wonderful co-host Zach. And mate, another win. Can you believe it?
It's awesome. Thank you for holding down the fort. I've had I don't know. I've come down with an illness because apparently I have the constitution of a Victorian child. But luckily, as always, my wonderful co-host here is there able to hold down the fort. And today, whereas usually I would like read loads of reference points when we're talking, I'm going to struggle to do that today because somehow I've scratched my glasses. So it's just not going great in my world, Greg. Except for, as you pointed out, the mighty Saints, where you get to turn and be like, thank goodness. But I'm not going to lie, mate. I was having a bit of a mare during that game yesterday. Like, I am astounded. It was a fantastic win. Really, really, really pleased for Archer. I'm really pleased for Yanda. I'm really pleased for Shay Charles. I'm really pleased for all the visiting fans. I'm really, really pleased for the team. I'm pleased for us. It's just like when you say it feels like we're never going to lose again, every single time there's like a wobble. They're like, do you know what? Let's never lose again. It is phenomenal to see what this team is doing. And like, what was the stat that I sent you the other day? So like the first time we've won that many games in a row in the league since like, I don't know, in the last like
I think it was 1907. Yeah.
120 odd years, which is just madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know how else to put to words. Like I know that that's kind of what we do for fun. Again, we do this for fun, but like it's just absolutely phenomenal. Is the only word that I have for you, Greg. I would like to point out and put on record that was definitely a score prediction I got right. I told you they would definitely score against us. I didn't think it would be as a frustrating game as it was, but doesn't matter. We won, didn't it? So yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
that was a 2-minute spiel in answer to your question of we won again.
Look, mate, you're right. It could have been a very different podcast.
Yeah, I expected it. You could tell because you could tell from our WhatsApps back and forth that I was getting. It's not. I wasn't losing faith. I was just frustrated. That first half was very similar to the Derby game. Like even my wife was like, you're just watching the same game we went to." I'm like, "No." I get that though.
Look, Swansea came out to frustrate and to displace us, and they did a much better job of it than anyone in the current run that we faced has managed to do yet.
They played really well. They played good football. I'm not going to lie, and like obviously knowing what Downs was like, they specifically picked a target to spend their entire first half winding up. And boy, howdy, is he lucky that he got away with it. If it wasn't for the fact that when he picked up his yellow, the player went for him a little bit. I don't think that would have ended up as a yellow. So should we just talk about that straight up?
Yeah, let's get it out of the way nice and early. You're right. I said to you on our chat, I said it's only a yellow because he reacted instead of instigated. And although in real time it looked like he just bundled the player to the floor, he slightly went for the player and the player threw himself to the floor. It was made to look worse than it was. That said, if he gets sent off, I find it very hard to create a defence for him there. If the decision does go that way, I don't think we're sitting here going, "That's ridiculous, it's never a red." I think we go, "Yeah, maybe." So
it was very lucky it didn't escalate, right? And I think because the ref could tell that he was being wound up on purpose, it's probably the only reason it ended up being a yellow there, right? And he managed to get through the rest of the half before obviously being not hooked off at half time, swapped out, and it's a good thing he was, to be honest, because Shay Charles went on to score a goal. But yeah, I just wanted to just kind of like approach that at the top because it's probably going to get a bit of traction. I've already seen people complaining about it. It's not half as bad as as time of recorded, it's just been the Arsenal City game. not half as bad as the really bad foul in that game that should have definitely been a red.
Mm.
However, like I could, as you pointed out, like if he had been sent off, I don't think we'd be like, well, that's just ridiculous. It'd be like I
Yeah,
can see how it went either way. But luckily,
yeah.
the fates were with us. So
Which isn't to say that I think it was a sending off. I think a booking was the right decision. I just think it was close and he was a bit lucky, right? Like I think that
yeah,
because and like I say, in real time it looked like bundling a player to the floor, but actually, to be fair to the player, I think he actually tripped over his own player as opposed to throwing himself. So it was just a bit messy and a bit silly, but
he could have just not held on to him, Greg. I'm sorry.
look,
Like he could have.
I find it
Just,
very
could have
hard
just
not
not.
to empathise with Flynn Downs as someone who shares that level of passion when it comes to playing on
No,
a football pitch.
I get it. I genuinely get it, and it's one of the things that, to be honest, is a thing that a characteristic we want in our players to an
Mm.
extent, and a characteristic that we know Flynn Downs has. So, but let's take it back to the start, Greg, with the lineups. So,
Mm.
a bit slightly changed, not really hugely any massive surprises. I guess kind of feel bad for Quasi. It kind of feels like I don't know if he's played much of a role in the rest of the season. What do you think?
I'm sure that he will play again this season, right?
You reckon?
I think we've got more games coming. Like the game's going to come. Like
Mm.
Stevens, presumably was rested because
Yeah, because he came
we
on.
saw him come on, admittedly incredibly late in the
Yeah,
game, but clearly he's in a position where he's going to need that rest sometimes, and Wood has been excellent and made a game changing and block, and was despite also getting pretty wound up at points in the first half and getting himself in the book, but yeah.
he took more of my ire than he deserved.
Oh, do you know, he
Put it
actually
that way.
didn't get booked, which
Yeah, I was going to
will
say, I
up
was
in
like,
judgment.
it was Azaz and Downs that got
Yeah.
booked, but yeah, it was. He probably got more of my ire than it deserved because of the fact that I was just very frustrated with that first half, and I think
But
it's just we haven't watched a first half like that in a while. I guess.
yeah, and look, it was frustrating. It was frustrating because we still were creating chances, probably not as many as we should have been, and it was frustrating because the chances we did create were not clear. We didn't look like scoring them, and they didn't really create a lot, but did score a silly goal, and kind
Yeah,
of. And in the same way, it's not that they were bad. They were bringing the ball forward. It's just they weren't. They had a couple of half chances, but nothing like decisive. So it was frustrating, and of course, getting wound up and it being sort of a bitty, scrappy game.
it's very very scrappy. Which kind of I guess is probably a good thing we did have. Your Woods and your Downs and your Breeze
Hmm.
and this any other. How about Yander coming into midfield? Were you happy with that? Because I thought he had a fantastic game. Obviously, he assisted
Yeah,
towards the end. So
yeah. I thought he was. I thought. Look, this midfield is such a beautiful problem because in the last game Yander played, he was exceptional. Didn't put a foot wrong and was. I was going to say unlucky to get dropped, but it's not even really that, is it? It's just
it's just
rotation
rotation. It is
because
literally rotation.
all of the players in that position are excellent. They just step up and do their job and more. Obviously, like Shay Charles stepping in and just becomes a crucial goal scorer for the season is not what you'd have labelled him as at the start of the season either, right? Like that's
Yeah,
not the profile I'd put on him. But here he is stepping up and getting another goal.
all under the
Just
tutelage of Romeo. But like, I guess this
yeah.
is why he was such a popular face at Sheffield Wednesday, right?
Hmm.
Like, obviously, like we know his brother's there now, but like he was very very decisive for them. In played really really well for them. They definitely wanted to keep him. We brought him back, and he basically has come in tenfold to what we wanted from that player, right?
Mm.
Especially when, considering he's out on loan, it's kind of nuts when you think about it. But yeah, you're right. The midfield is such a beautiful problem to have, and isn't even really a problem. But I was really impressed
but
by
other
it.
than those changes, right? As that's coming in because he was fit to start, fully expected.
Mhm.
Nice to see him getting a full 90 minutes as well. So
Yeah,
that's
so
promising.
clearly it wasn't like a horrific. We didn't know how bad the injury was, right? Like I don't know if Tonda mentioned it much in the presser beforehand. I think I was in like the illness fever, so I missed all the
I mean,
ramble up to it.
it was a slightly weird one where like the pre-match for both of the games this week were done like directly after the post-match of the game before it. So
Oh yeah, no, you're
no
right.
real like time to get those answers. But Tonda is what he is, and even if that time was allowed, I feel like perhaps we wouldn't get those answers anyway because he'd like to keep them guessing. But yeah, it's good to see him back in and getting 90 minutes because he's such an important part of the team, and it didn't surprise me to see Stewart starting because I just think that's what we're going to be having for the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, him swapping out for Lauren.
So Lauren will start Tuesday. So
Yeah.
it seems to be the way that front line's going to rotate, and but yeah, it was fun. Yeah, no problems with the lineup at all. But the first half, Swansea did their job and came out to frustrate us. I think it's safe to call it a scrappy goal. I don't think it was a good goal. I think it was probably the first time I've seen Peretz kind of flap at something and it go completely amiss, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It was just a well-worked ball in from the second phase of a set piece. So
yeah, it's just frustrating. But like the fact that we're not conceding as many of those goals, and it's not like we've got to come up against Arsenal anytime soon again. It's not as much of a problem. But yeah, it's just frustrating.
Yeah,
I think.
But then the second half came, and like you say, Downs came off for cooler head's sake, presumably, and and we went on, and we just did
pushed
We got a goal.
through. Yeah. Because the problem is that I don't know if you feel the same. And again, it's getting to a point where like I don't want it ever to be arrogance. I never want to feel that comfortable because it's just not how life is as a Saints fan, right? But like it was very apparent to me and probably to you again that once we got that first one, the second one at that point becomes inevitable.
Oh yeah, it really felt inevitable.
Yeah, and it is just it is such a strange feeling to kind of still week in week out have that. It's just like, well, it's fine. It's now we've scored one, it's fine. We'll score the other.
But you saw confidence was in the players because by the very nature of the goal itself. I mean, a little backheel flick from Leo to put Yander into acres of space to deliver a ball into Cam Archer, who stood in his own postcode. Like, like it was a play created by confidence, and I think that really is the main difference is the belief, right? Because earlier in the season, when we had these situations where we were chasing the goal and needed to create something, it was hurried and rushed, and there was no belief behind it. But there's none of that. There's no rush, hurry. There's no complacency. There's just, we're going to score. We'll just do our football things well, and it's going to go to plan. And then it, upsets Cam Archer with his second massive goal of the week. And
isn't that mad though? Because we really hoped he'd have a part to play, and it couldn't have been easy after the loan move at Rangers fell apart, and it wasn't that we had got back to, I guess, the level of morale we're at now during that time either. Because again, like me and you were quite skeptical at what two potential changes could do to the team, right?
Yeah.
Which is looking back such a silly thing.
It's an absolute credit to Cameron Archer and his mentality and his willingness to build, because we've always seen, or at least I've always seen, that there's a a good player in there with an eye for goal. We saw that as far back as when he first signed for us and uh, banged one of the best goals I've seen in against Arsenal, where he just picked up in the box and curled it around the defender into the top corner and scored again in that game. And he's clearly just a confidence player. So to work hard enough in training, and you can clearly see that he has, because he's not being getting minutes to keep himself competitive. Really, the times he has come on in the game, he's not. It's not been a part of the game where he's had to force the opportunity or been able to force the opportunity to do something. Um, and it's clear that he works hard for it, because you just see the way the rest of the team react to him, getting these big moments. It happened on Tuesday, and you saw them all, throw him out for the celebration in front of the team, because he was excellent and played his skin off on Tuesday. Just ran and worked the entire game and was good. And then to come on today and put it away, it's just perfect. Just everyone on the team stepping up at the right time, and just an absolute credit to him and his work rate. Because, like you say, to expect to leave the club and mentally turn yourself around and come back and make such a crucial impact at such a crucial time of the season, yeah, fair play.
Well, ultimately, it's this the difference between us having 3 points and not. Like that's it.
Yeah,
And and I'm not saying that it's not a collective team effort, but that individual effort is the thing that pushed it over the line. And I think I can't credit where I've seen it, and I apologise, but somebody put out a tweet about how Leo kind of like made him do his signature celebration. I don't know if you've seen that, Greg, where like as he's being after he's sort of pushed to the crowd, Leo himself does the sort of archer pose thing to say, "Go and do it," and he did on top of obviously the celebrations and stuff, because I'm guessing the level of togetherness that you see with the team now is just something that is absolutely incredible and all we've ever really asked for. And I think that regardless of what happens with promotion and all that kind of stuff in the summer, it's going to be for me like to enjoy what's left of the season, regardless of which way it goes, because I don't know how long that will last, right? And
yeah.
we should enjoy every moment of it because it is just incredible to watch and see. And you're
You're
you're right
100% right.
about like
All we've
the
ever asked for is work rate, and if all of the players worked as hard last season as Cameron Archer worked both Tuesday and against Swansea, we'd have had zero complaints on the show, even with the embarrassing position we found ourselves in, honestly. Because if they were working like that and it wasn't happening, it kind of is what it is. But that wasn't the case. But yeah, you're right. It's just nice to see them come together and the unity and the team bond, and it's just night and day from where we were, isn't it?
yeah. I think that's the main sort of thing, right? And it's the point that you keep making about the fact that one or two would come over and that would be it. And now it's like that is a dressing room full of people that have an eye on a goal and are working towards it to the best of their ability,
Mm.
backed by a massive fan base of people that have had to watch some absolute dross in recent years, who are now being rewarded through rewarded with from like rewarded for their support by some absolutely incredible football and some incredible teamwork from a real gem of a group of lads, and it's really really nice to see. And like the chances are we'll probably be getting Laren because that looks like it's been a really 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 cheap deal, so that's some
Yeah,
nice news. And I guess we'll see what's in Cam Archer's future, but in the present, he will have the accolades that he deserves for getting us over the line
yeah.
in both of those games.
Absolutely. And look, we've talked about it before, right? I'm sure that some people somewhere are saying, "Oh, it's just adding money to his price tag or whatever." But who cares? Like, honestly, who cares what is motivating you when you're playing like that and winning those crucial matches and crucial points at the crucial time of the season when it matters most? No judgment from me at all if that is the case. And It's
I
just
think
nice, isn't it?
you've got both though, right? Like there's the motivation of the team, but everybody
Mm.
has personal goals. Like I want to do well at my job, but I also have my own personal ambitions. It's when you're able to combine them both, right?
Mm.
Like Larin wants to get to a World Cup. That was
Yeah,
an obvious reason. The rest of them probably want to get to the Premier League. Like everyone who joined said that was one of the things that they wanted to. Peretz has talked about how that's what his goal is, and he'll probably leave if not. So, of course, they're all going to have their own individual things, and it might be that Cam wants to put, get an extra bit of money from leaving, but I also don't think that's in necessarily the forefront of all of their minds at the moment,
no.
anyway. Just because of what we've got coming up, and
Well, you're right. It's very clear that the focus is there, and the focus maintains to be right. Next game up, let's focus and smash that. And yeah, the belief is there. The stuff is good. I just it's crazy. What's really crazy, mate, is we started briefly earlier talking about like our post season content and what that might look like this year.
yes,
And isn't it going to be nuts when we do keep, bench, sell, and everyone's just keep?
I think what's even stranger is that like there are so many constants and variables and everything in between that I mean that trying to plan for this post-season content is almost impossible because
Yeah,
we might be in the championship, we might not. We could potentially be in Europe, we
yeah,
might not. We could be in the championship and in Europe, and also go. There are is the fact that it's this far down to the wire. Greg's a maths guy, a numbers guy. If you
yeah.
guys haven't noticed, right? I am not. And because of that, he often just uses me as what I feel like just a notepad on the ground to do calculations. And that was his warning. So when he talks about postseason content, he also went into this period where he started figuring out what we need and what other teams need. And the fact that we were both actively paying attention to the Ipswich Middlesbrough game, because,
Mm.
well, if it's a draw, this means this, but also goal difference is going to play a
I
huge
was
part here.
looking at
I
all
think,
of the permutations, right? And it's so look. I mean, look. Let's spell it out in the simplest way I can, because
please, it will help me.
so right, the draw between Ipswich and Middlesbrough today, in some ways, does do us a huge favour, right? So effectively, we're talking about the easiest way to calculate it being the maximum number of points, right? So if we do what we need to do and win all three of our remaining games, then the maximum amount of points that we can finish on is is 84 points. Right? Now,
Right,
currently speaking, the maximum number of points Ipswich can finish on is 87 points, but one of their games is against us. So if we beat them, then they could finish on the same points as us,
right,
but their goal difference is currently better. They are 5 goals better than us, right? So even beating Ipswich, we either need to hammer them or they need to drop a point for us to finish in second or for us to finish above them. The other player in the picture now, because Middlesbrough, by dropping points today, cannot finish on as many points as us, right? Their maximum points from their 3 games now become 81. So if we win all 3 of our games, we're above them. Simple.
right.
um, so, yeah. So the other player in the picture is Millwall. They've got 3 arguably pretty easy games, to be fair. They definitely have the easier run-in of the 4 teams who are chasing it down. They are 1 point above us currently with the same amount of games to play. So naturally, if they win all 3 of their games and we win all 3 of our games, they finish 1 point above us and finish in second. So for us to go up automatically now, we just need Ipswich ideally to drop points as well as us to beat them, and Millwall to drop points at any point in the next 2 games. It doesn't have to be a loss though; could just be a draw, and
So
so it's achievable.
what
But
I'm hearing is that Gavin Bazunu needs to make wonder saves at Stoke and make Millwall lose.
mate, who'd have thought that maybe automatic promotion hinged on Gavin Bazunu making saves even in the long run. That's crazy. But
Sorry.
most importantly, like obviously automatics are the dream, right? That's the best possible outcome because you can't lose playoffs if you're in automatics, right? Very simple equation.
That's some simple maths there. Yeah, you're right.
But that isn't in our hands. We are relying on other teams dropping points or big goal turnovers. Right. To be fair, if Ipswich don't drop any other points, but we beat them 5-0, that's as good, right? So it would be going up in second on goal difference, which wouldn't feel like as much of a win, but it's achievable. But really, what we will be doing is watching Millwall's results closely. But the important number is probably the most interesting one, which is easy to overlook in the midst of all of this looking up at second and seeing if we can do it, is that 7th place Wrexham, obviously 3 games to play on 67 points, meaning that their maximum achievable points are 76. Their goal difference is 24 goals worse than us. So realistically speaking, even a draw to Bristol City on Tuesday will effectively confirm us a playoff spot. Which if you think about even as recently as 3 games ago, that was the target, right? Or we might just squeak 6th.
Yeah, but then we won more games in a row than we have managed since
ever. Yeah, 19-0 something.
19-0 something. Right, exactly. What? That's a lot to take in, right? Considering that there was not a 0% chance we were worried about relegation. Yeah. And then of all of the ex-Premier League teams to potentially be relegated, I don't think anyone at the beginning of the season thought it would be Premier League winners Leicester, who are now languishing in second from bottom and lost to Pompey. Just... Man, it's going to be so, if we do get promoted, and, I know that's what the goal is, it's going to be so, it's not going to be this much maths and fun, right, for you especially, but, this has just been such a, I know that we always talk about how the Championship's such a mad league, but genuinely, this has been such a crazy, topsy-turvy, at one point Charlton were in playoff paces,
Yeah,
West Brom looked bang on to potentially get relegated, as did Sheffield United, right?
That
was a genuine thing.
The reality of it is that regardless of the permutations, even with all of things either going our way or not going our way, it is going to come down to the last day of the season for arguably as many as 6 teams, right?
Man.
Even as far down as Derby are not out of the playoff equation. So everywhere from Millwall down to Derby, even with all results going, it's going to come down to the last day of the season and who is winning and who is losing. And look, the form we're on at the moment, we can only really bring ourselves to look up and assume that we're going to win all of our games and where that will put us. But, despite the confidence that the form will give you, winning every game is just not something that people do. Ask the bloke who wants to cut his hair, right? The more grounded reality approach is we are 1 point away from guaranteed playoffs. And that is fantastic, right? To think about how far we've come, like you say, from a not 0% chance of looking down the table towards relegation to we might get automatics if results go our way, but actually from our next 3 games we need a single point to at least be in the playoffs.
Bear in mind as well,
it's more important as well, right? The higher you are in the playoffs, arguably the better your draw, because if you get as high as 3rd, then you play 6th, and 6th might genuinely be Derby, who creep in on goal difference on the last day of the season or something daft like that. And obviously you get the advantage of playing at home 2nd, and we know what kind of atmosphere you can create for a vital need to win playoff semi-final.
Yeah, we do.
So it's kind of irrelevant. We could completely switch off and only get a draw from the next 3 games, and we'll be fine. And that's a nice position to be in. It doesn't matter because we're going to win them all anyway.
Oh, goodness gracious me, Greg.
But yeah,
you're right. Football's mad. But I tell you what, mate, I do enjoy being a Saints fan. And whilst that was a really scrappy game, and fair play to Swansea, and they'll probably feel a little bit hard done by because maybe they feel like Flynn Down should have been sent off. And I think at one point they had a penalty shout because like Wood tapped into somebody. We're going to address that now. I don't know how you feel about that, but it feels like a bit too late for us to really have a proper conversation about it now. Anyway,
it didn't even register in the memory as a proper penalty shout.
There you go. So now we roll on to Bristol City, which will contain both me and you. I'll be joining you on Tuesday night, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
I look forward to losing what little voice I have left, and and then hopefully we'll be celebrating another win.
Just think, like I've heard some like discussion of, I don't know about playing City at Wembley though, because like getting yourself hyped up for that big game and potentially losing could like really kill the momentum, but just might not matter. We might have already like confirmed playoff places, so that will be enough confidence to take us into the FA Cup final as well.
Plus, you've got the fact that that City have now got a run in to potentially win the Premier League.
Yeah.
So us completely demoralising and destroying Arsenal has resulted in City maybe looking not at the FA Cup but another Premier League game against, which means that they'll probably be concentrating on that a little bit more, which maybe it was all Tonda's master plan from the start, mate. I can't put it past him at this point because I'd like to say, yeah, that's a joke. But also, like, I don't know what that man's doing. Do you remember when we talked about when he first joined and we were like, man, it's not sustainable that he just sleeps at Staplewood and like continues this. And then we had our little bit of a wobble. And I don't know what happened now other than that maybe he just like lives there.
Well, there's no secret what he's done. He has tried to make it incredibly clear and incredibly visible to anyone who pays attention. What he's done is build a team around him that he has enough trust in to not have to do all of those things. That's exactly the reason he's never willing to accept sole credit and puts it on the team and always gets the whole team up for the Manager of the Month award, because that's what he's done. He's built the team of people he trusts enough to not have to do all of the things himself, and more power to him. It's clearly paying off. And
man, so you're saying that Spores was the master all along for getting in Tonda to potentially succeed Will Still, even if it ended up being earlier?
I don't know, mate. Like, it's hard to disagree with more league wins in a row than since 1908, right?
To be clear, it was bait, and I don't want to put the achievements of an incredible coaching team, an incredible bunch of players, on one guy who managed to hire somebody correctly, right? Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more in the summer, especially where we're going to start filling in with some of that evergreen content. Because we don't disappear over the summer. If anyone that's been with us since last year, we just carry on. It turns out that there is an ability to talk about Saints every day, regardless of whether the season is happening or not. If you try hard enough,
so much happening and so much to think about. And if you don't think I've already booked Europa League fixture release date off, that you don't know me well enough at all.
No, I do. That's the problem. Well, we got a match preview coming up tomorrow, right? I'm guessing we'll talk about Bristol City and
absolutely,
the fact that,
yeah. Look, you're right. That's all we've got time for from this review. Great, good stuff. Not pretty, but effective.
That's
excellent.
Imagine if we'd had that in the Premier League, man. That's what we wanted. Is that we would have begged for any win like that. We got one, but we played Ipswich, ironically, right? So yeah, where we're scrappy game, a game that Greg got to see scared Zach again, full on in text, and now we go into
It doesn't
Bristol
matter,
City.
mate, because as we talk about so frequently, the only number or the only stat or the only thing that matters is the score on the end of the sheet of the day, and that was 2 goals to Saints, 1 to Swansea, and mate, we march on to more undefeated games. What a great time to be a Saints fan. We've got to keep saying it because it's hard to believe. You've got to pinch yourself. But
Yeah.
but listen, let us know in the comments and socials how good you're feeling, because yeah, what a time to be a Saints fan. We are Daily Saints Pod, absolutely everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Blue Sky, X. Hit us up, let us know how you're feeling about that particular win. Like Zach says, we'll be back to preview Tuesday night's game tomorrow morning. But until then, everyone, enjoy the continuous winning, and we will see you then.